Welcome back to another video. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. So the full-time whistle has just gone. Everton 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0. I've got three very special guests to talk through today's game. Of course, it was Antonio Conte's first Premier League game as Tottenham Hotspur head coach. Spurs were up for the fight, but created no chances again on target, no shots on target. That is now 3 hours, 46 minutes without a shot on target in Premier League football, but we kept a clean sheet. As I say, I've got three very special guests with me. Delighted to be joined by Majestic, presenter of Kiss FM and TalkSport. Majestic, how are you?
Very good. Yeah, another boring afternoon of football with Spurs, but as you mentioned at the top of the show, didn't concede, which is a good thing, especially after we're shipping 3 goals a game in London derby. So I'll take that as a positive, and it's early days for Conte, isn't it?
Absolutely. We've also got actor Ricky Norwood and good friend. Ricky, how are you? Ricky, are you there?
Very well. Thanks for having me back on. Let's get into it. It's just a... Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We can hear you now, yep. Yep.
Can you hear me?
Just about. We've also got YouTuber Lee, the Dorset Spur. Lee, how are you?
Back on, Chris. It's good to be back on.
Hi, Chris. Hi, everyone.
Right, Majestic, let's start with you. How did you see today's game? Of course, this week, we've all been absolutely buzzing. Monday morning, Nuno Espirito Santo sacked. Antonio Conte appointed on Tuesday. Every single Tottenham Hotspur fan has been buzzing this week. What are your thoughts on Antonio Conte's appointment and today's game?
Yeah, obviously Conte coming in is a huge statement. For me, it is the final roll of the dice for Daniel Levy and Enoch in general, because if Antonio Conte cannot get this right at Tottenham Hotspur, you might as well sell the club, completely gut it, and try again, because we've had a great young manager in Pochettino, obviously, and things didn't go right there. Then we had the seasoned vet in Mourinho, who's won it all. And arguably, Conte is one of the best managers in the world right now. He's at his peak. He's come off the back of winning things with Inter Milan, Chelsea, Juve, and Italy. And if this man can't get it right, then there's no hope for us, is there really at all? So, yeah, I was really excited about Conte coming in. And I'm a realistic Spurs fan. Things aren't going to happen overnight. The personnel that we've got there, the players that are in the squad right now, just simply aren't good enough. When you're looking at team sheets, I said it the other day on my Same Old Spurs podcast, I didn't go to the Man United game last weekend. Literally, I had a bad day. My team lost 5-1 in the day for my club. And then I was like, right, Spurs are going to get rolled by Man United. I just know it, especially when Ollie needs a win. Then I saw Ben Davies on the team sheet and I thought, I'm not wasting my afternoon. So, yet again today, Ben Davies plays, and that's the personnel we've got at the club at the moment. So Conte, he can only do what he's got in front of him. So let's steady that ship until January, and then let's see what he can bring in, because just at the moment, just who we've got there is just simply not good enough.
Majestic, are you surprised though? When you look at the team that we've got there, the likes of Heung-min Son and Harry Kane, we've failed to have a shot on target again for 90 minutes.
I can, because Oliver Skip and Hojbjerg are behind them. I really rate Hojbjerg, and I think Skip's actually doing really well. He's looked really seasoned today, but they're not creative midfielders. So where are you going to get any kind of creative energy from? We haven't replaced Eriksen. We thought we might have in Lo Celso, or if Ndombele plays as a creative outlet. There's no creativity whatsoever. The 4 players that we look for some creativity is Lo Celso and Ndombele, arguably Bergwijn, and again, arguably Dele Alli when he was actually playing well, and they don't play. So where is any kind of creativity supposed to come from? Again, that's why Harry Kane's been dropping so deep in games, and he has had to go back into the midfield to create something. He's not firing on all cylinders. Obviously, his head's not been right. And then if he's not playing well and Son's not playing well, we've got no chance whatsoever. So, yeah, it's that midfield we just lack any kind of creativity. It's just... how do we break teams down? Like, we're not used to playing with wing-backs just yet. So hopefully that's something that Conte can get out. Because I did think that on Thursday when I was at the game, when Royale was bursting forward on the right-hand side a couple of times, I thought, okay, this could be, utilising those wings could be really good. But yeah, at the moment, until you've got someone creatively behind those two, I don't expect any different.
Ricky, let's come to you. What are your initial thoughts on today's game? 0-0 draw. Of course, we've all been on such a high since the appointment of Antonio Conte. Scored 3 goals early on in the Vitesse Arnhem game on Thursday. Conceded 2. What did you expect from today, and what are your thoughts on the match?
Well, firstly, Chris, you know, the first thing that I noticed was an increase in intensity and an increase in energy. Yeah, we're still kind of not getting it right in the final third, but there was definitely an increase in commitment and in desire and in wanting to get wanting to perform and wanting to get the messages that have been given from Conte onto the pitch. So I definitely saw that. So I was encouraged with that. It's not going to happen overnight, like Majestic said. You know, however special Conte is, he hasn't got a magic wand. Do you know what I mean? So it is going to take time. But for the first Premiership game against an Everton side, you know, managed by Benitez, that were intense themselves, that were up for it themselves, they wanted to get their losing run. They wanted to shut that off themselves and kind of start progressing. So it was a tough game. The Goodison crowd were up for it. And I felt that with just a couple of tweaks here and there, I think we could have done it. I think Lo Celso's shot at the end was really unlucky. And I think, not that I can criticize Conte, because I do trust this guy. I trust him. I trust what he's going to bring to Tottenham. I trust what he's going to do for us. I trust that if he says somebody's good for us, then I'm going to trust that. And if he says somebody's bad for us, I'm going to trust that too. But I do think he's still learning about this side. He's still learning about the players that he can trust in the system that he wants to implement for Tottenham. And I think there was a few missed opportunities there today. I felt that, you know, Bergwijn could have come on for Reguilon at left wing back, for instance, and increased the attacking dynamic going forward. I felt that maybe Skip or Hojbjerg could have come off for Ndombele or Lo Celso in that role to kind of, again, push us forward. With three centre-backs, I don't know if we need two holders, even though both of them they played pretty well. So I felt there was a few missed opportunities there. You know, I felt that Doherty, it looked even worse at left back than he does at right back. So, you know, he's learning, but we're definitely on the right track.
Lee, let's come to you now. Your thoughts on today's game, and is this a positive result for Spurs today?
I think you've got to take it as a positive result, right? Because, you know, like Majestic said, we've been shipping three, you know. So to come away with a clean sheet, you know, defensively, you've got to say, well, that's a real bonus, you know. Am I over the moon with it? Well, obviously not. You know, you want to win, you know. But I think, as we've said already, you know, it's early days, you know, 2 games in. He's definitely trying to find out who his players are, who can he trust, where can they play, what can they do, can they work in the system that he wants to do. So that's why I'm not surprised with players like Doherty and Davis and Lo Celso and so on getting into the team, you know, late on, just to see how they bed in, see what they bring to the table. So I think it's early days. I don't think I've been as excited about a manager coming in for a very, very long time, if I'm being honest. I mean, Nuno was like, you know, really, you know, I mean, I did call it out on one of these, didn't I, Chris? But, you know, yeah. It was just one of them where you think, and also ran, you know, just to steady the ship. But, you know, I think the excitement that he brings, I think already you can see that it's lifted the fans and it's lifted the players. There was a bit more of an intensity at the start of the game, I thought. Certainly for the first 20 minutes, I thought we really started to show some decent passing. What worries me more is it kind of seems to die off. And certainly in the second half, I didn't think we even got going. So, you know, I think, like I say, early days, a bit of hit and miss. But, you know, I think we're on the right track. I think, you know, given time, you know, we're going to get somewhere. And as Majestic said, if Antonio Conte can't do this, where does Daniel Levy go from there, mate? Because, you know, it's like the last roll of dice. Yeah, last roll of the dice, mate. You know, after this, he's in no man's land.
Well, we don't want to talk about after. We want to talk about the now. We want to talk about the now, what's happening. Majestic, exactly. Let's come to you. How excited have you been since Tuesday? Because I'll tell you what, when I got into Goodison Park today, the excitement level, everybody thought that we were going to win this game. Everybody is super excited about this appointment. What do you think Antonio Conte will bring to Spurs?
Desire, passion, and anyone that lacks that, you're not in my team. And that's what I want to see, you know. I've seen so many funny memes of, you know, when he's been slapping his like second in command, like saying this is him with Harry Winks saying get the orange juice over to the boys. There's that, you know, that kind of passion is what we really want to see from a manager. Like he's currently living at the Spurs lodge. You know, like he lives and breathes football. This 2-week interval, that's the one positive I'm going to take from this. I'm reading some of the comments on the side. People saying, oh, you know, don't forget Everton are a good team. Listen, Goodison Park's never easy to go to. Doesn't matter what Everton team you're playing. It's a difficult place to go. You know, so you'll take the point, steady that ship. 2-week international break now. If he can't get Ndombele up to speed and fitness, no one can, because Conte will be literally out there working day in, day out with him. And that's the thing that we really believe in Conte as a footballing man. You know, he's someone that loves the game, he's passionate, and he's going to be passionate about trying to turn some of these players' desires around. And that's the thing. And if he can get everyone to buy into that, if you don't buy into that as a football player under Conte, then just stop playing football, you know? And as Ricky said, you know, I'm going to trust him. If he turns around to me and says, you know what, Eric Dyer's a tremendous defender, I'm going to be like, well, you're the fourth person who's had a go, and I still don't believe it myself. But if you tell me, I'll believe you, because you're Antonio Conte and you know more than me. So we will see, you know, realistically what his team starts to take shape and look like in the coming weeks and games. And he just won't settle for anyone who's not given 100% on that field. And that's the difference between him and someone like Nuno. Like, Nuno can't even really chat to Dele Alli, like, let alone Harry Kane, and be like, you've got to do this for me. He's going to go, you're the manager of Wolves. What do you know? Like, that's some of the egotistical, you know, ideas in some of the football players' heads. And, you know, with Conte, he's just turned around to them, I'm going to tell you what to do. Can you tell me differently? No, because you've won nothing. Shut up and get on with it. And that's the thing. And that's hopefully what we can build. And character within our team, you know, because I'm sat here doing this YouTube watching West Ham currently beating Liverpool. And you know what? David Moyes has turned that into a team. They're a collective of players that are playing for one another. And we had that once upon a time. But I think a lot of people became too complacent. A lot of people thought they were too good for Tottenham. You know, when we get into that stage. And I think I want Conte to bring it all back down to ground zero, rebuild, and go.
Ricky, let's come to you. There's absolutely no doubt at all that the fans are behind this appointment because, as I said, the fans were super excited today. Most of the game today, the Spurs fans were seeing Antonio, you know, very, very excited. How excited are you by the appointment?
Oh, mate, I'm ecstatic. Like Majestic was saying there, like, I don't think I've been excited by a managerial appointment in a very long time. I mean, even when Poch came in, I was a little bit like, nah, I don't know, when he first came in. Do you know what I mean? But obviously he proved it to all of us in the time that he spent there. But I've been super excited because, you know, it's the demands that he puts on these players. It's the responsibility that he puts on these players. It's the performances that he warrants from these players. So this is why I'm saying, like, that I can finally kind of just trust him. If he was to put in Davies, Winks, Dele, do you know what I mean, and Doherty on the right, and I'm going to be like, I'm going to look at it and be like, but I trust him. So he's going to, like Majestic was saying there, he's going to have more knowledge and know more about football and what he wants from his players and from his side. So all I can see is good times coming. Yes, it's still going to be a bumpy road because we are Tottenham and nothing runs smoothly for us. We always do it the hard way. But I've got trust in this man and in Paratici that little bit by little bit we're going to make this happen. Little bit by little bit we're going to push forward. That's why, again, this international break is going to be, you know, it's going to be really important for those that are left at home. You know, to work out what roles they're after, to work out what Conte wants from them. And the biggest thing, I think, is which Conte keeps mentioning, is the physicality, as in the fitness. Do you know what I mean? Like, these boys, we've seen by the stats, you know, the running stats, the shooting stats, we've seen by the stats that, you know, we're not as fit as we used to be. So he's going to be working on that left, right, and centre, and to play in an intensive atmosphere and in an intensive way, you need your fitness behind you, because what we've seen against Vitesse and what we've seen today is like dips. So they come out and they're firing, and then we see a dip and we see them kind of collecting themselves, and that's when we invite pressure from the opposition. And then, you know, we especially today we went again. You know, second half we went again. Last 10 minutes we was going again. So it's going to take a little bit of time, but that's why these 2 weeks are really, really important for physicality, for fitness, for understanding. And I'm just super excited for what's to come, Chris. Super excited for what's to come from this man.
You mentioned about the fitness there, Ricky. This week, Antonio Conte and Spurs have appointed 3 fitness coaches. And of course, I think all of us Tottenham fans have seen that, how fit we were under Mauricio Pochettino, still running, in the 93rd minute in games. And then it seemed to go downhill under the management of Jose Mourinho and Nuno. He wants that fitness back, doesn't he? He's going to, like Majestic said, he's going to demand it.
Yeah, he's going to demand it. And if you're not up for it, then see you later, bye-bye. Or go train with the under-23s until we can get rid of you. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the level of authority that he brings with him, and that's where everyone's got to back him. And it's not just back him in the transfer market, it's back his decisions. If he says a certain player, and let's just take Harry Kane, for example, because he's profile there. If he looks at Harry and he's like, you're not doing it, you're not up for it, all right, cool. Like, I can't question that at this point. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to have to back that. And it's the same as the team. They're going to have to back that. And the same as the club. Those that are upstairs in the boardroom, you can't have Daniel Levy or anybody else coming down and going, yeah, but you see Harry, can we play him next week after Conte's made a decision? Do you know what I mean? Like, you got to let him make his decisions. You got to trust in his word. You got to trust that he's a football man that understands football and knows what he wants from his side. And there's going to be, if there are harsh decisions come in or decisions that we as fans would question, we can question him, but we can't distrust him. We've got to go with him. We have to go with him, and that's what the club have got to do as well. They've got to go with him. There ain't no more knocking on Daniel's door because I think Conte's picking on me. Forget all of that. It's time to push forward. It's time to be the club that we deserve to be, because we was there. We were pushing and we were climbing, and we declined rapidly. Like I said last week, like Titanic Hotspur FC, we was declining rapidly. So now this guy's going to come in and he is going to fix us. I believe that he will fix us. And not only fix us, push us to a level beyond what Poch had us. Do you know what I mean? Because the demand for the win, the demand for the passion, the demand for the performance, the demand for everything that comes with the game. Do you know what I mean? One of the key words that he keeps saying is suffer. If these boys have got to be prepared to suffer for the cause, they've got to eat, sleep, drink, and go toilet with Tottenham in their brain, and wanting to do well for Tottenham, the club. So that's what gives me faith about it. And that's, last week I only had hope. This week I've got faith and a little bit of belief that it will turn around.
Lee, let's come to you. Of course, it has been a mad week for all of us Spurs fans. And when I saw you in the pub before the game, the Manchester United game last week, you seemed to be more interested in the beer than the football you were about to watch. And then, of course, Nuno got the sack on Monday morning. You must be a little bit more excited now.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. To be fair, I had a horrible feeling about that Man United game, to be honest with you. I said to you, I thought it was going to be a 1-1. That was what was in my head, And to see it capitulate the way it did just was so disappointing. And I just had that feeling from the start, from the get-go, So, but now, it's everything to play for, isn't it? Everything's changed. It's all new. I mean, Nuno never inspired anything. If he doesn't inspire me, how is he going to inspire a top quality footballer? It's not going to happen. So you bring in someone like Antonio Conte, who's going to be bigger than the players, because that's what you need. If you're going to be the manager, you need to be bigger than them players. You need to be louder, stronger, more respected, and so on. So, with Mourinho, I always felt that there was probably a little bit like, it's all on his reputation of what come before, and it always felt like he was on his way down, right? With Conte, you're kind of talking about a manager who's at his peak, who's out there, everyone was looking at, So if the players aren't inspired by that, then there's a problem. Now the bigger question for me is Daniel Levy going to be inspired by Antonio Conte? Is Daniel Levy going to trust in what he's saying? Because if we can trust him, the players can trust him, but is Daniel Levy going to trust him? Because if he goes to Daniel Levy and says, I need to leave, let this player go, and whatever you can get from him is the best, is he going to take notice of that? Or is he going to go, no, you've got to keep playing Dele because we need to put him in the shop window? Or, Doherty's a good right back. You need to keep playing it. He can't tinker in that respect. He's got to let the man do his job. So that for me is the only question mark is the relationship between the board and the manager. And if Paratici is going to be the man who's going to be that link, and he's got Levy's ear, maybe things are going to change. But only time's going to tell on that one.
Surely he's only come for a project, though, Lee. Surely he's come because he's been given the assurances of what he wants. Surely.
Oh God, I hope so, because otherwise, he's big enough man to say, you know what, I'm not going to bother. Don't bother. Don't come knocking on my door if you ain't going to give me what I need. Surely. So you've got to believe that, but I want to see it. I'm a pragmatist. I like to see it happening. I want to see the January transfer window. I want to see what he does. I want to see where he goes, and what Daniel Levy's going to do about it. When I start seeing that happening, then I can start believing it as much as I really want to.
Majestic, let's come to you. Starting 11 today, Conte went with a 3-4-2-1. Lloris in goal, Romero, Dyer, Davis, Emerson Royale, Sergio Reguilon, Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg, Oliver Skip, Lucas Moura, Son and Kane. Is this Tottenham Hotspur's best 11? Or would you have made any changes if you had the choice? Because I must admit, in the match preview video that I put out yesterday on this channel, I went with Ndombele other than Skip. What changes would you have made, or were you happy with this?
Yeah, I'm with you. You need some kind of creative energy in there. Hojbjerg and Skip do the same thing for me, right? And I have this discussion all the time about that position where Hojbjerg is supposed to play, right? You don't need two of them. You only need one. If one of them's doing their job properly, which is supposed to be Hojbjerg, then let him be the best of that role, because with Hojbjerg, he can do a little bit of going forward. He scored a couple of goals this season, a couple of assists. He can do that as well, but it's not his main task. His main task is to disrupt play and then move the ball forward to someone like an Ndombele. The problem is, as seen in the comments, a lot of people are really just done with Ndombele because his energy, his work rate. There's no doubt the geezer's got unbelievable ability. Most people you talk to that's played with him, even Danny Rose, I heard on a Newcastle podcast once saying Ndombele is the best player he's ever played with, other than Dembele. He said that guy's going to be unreal because he's got so much footwork and ability, but he just doesn't put the shift in. If Conte can get a tune out of him, that's going to be a massive thing. But I just hope, even with Ndombele, if Conte looks at him and goes, I don't fancy him, get him out. I don't care if he's our record signing. And that is exactly what Ricky and Lee are talking about when they're talking about Daniel Levy. Step back now. Let this man do what he needs to do. If he says that this guy's not right, I couldn't care less that he's our record signing and you're going to lose 30, 40 million on him. Get him out, because we need to move forward. And some of the comments here were saying about the awful recruitment that has been in the last few years. And it has been, because, look at the likes of Jack Clark, Sessegnon, people that are not even in our squad or our team. What happened to the Sessegnon that everyone wanted? Why doesn't he play? Where is he? That's why you look at that starting 11 and go, well, that is our best 11, because what are the options? Our options are limited. Even me, I wasn't a fan at all of Lamela and his antics. However, at times you're like, get him on, he'll rile you up a little bit and do something. Yeah. He's gone now. You look at the bench and you're just not inspired by anything. So we are going to have to make a good few changes in that window. And that's the fact of the matter is that starting 11, what else are you going to do? With Ben Davies, as I said, a lot of people are saying that, Ben Davies was one of our better players today, which I'll give you that. But he's had 6 years plus at the club. What has he produced? Nothing. It's the same with the Dyers of this world and that. And Ricky was saying it as well. I'll trust in Conte. If he tells us that these are the players and these are right for us, then cool. But I'm just sick and tired of giving the same people chance after chance after chance, not being repaid by anything, because it's just the same old rubbish. It's just frustrating. And the thing about Spurs is we've gone from playing that really beautiful, free-flowing football at times we did under sort of the best parts of Poch, to now, just like I said, no shots on target or nothing. And that's been coming for a while. If you remember at the end of Eriksen's tenure, and a lot of us, because we could see that Christian wanted to leave, we was all like, Eriksen's done, his corners, he doesn't beat the first man and all that. But if you remember rightly, Jose Mourinho kept bringing him on to change the game because we were so stale. I remember against Olympiacos, 23 minutes in, he whips off Dyer, doesn't he? Brings on Eriksen, we win the game. Same against Wolves, we ended up winning the game over there. We missed that player. That is the most important part, and I can't look at that bench. Even Ndombele, he's not that player. Where is that player that can just open up a defence or create a chance or see a channel? We don't see any channels. The only person who normally does that is Harry Kane, and his passing's been way off in weeks. He was woeful today, Harry.
Majestic, do you think that Antonio Conte will get the best out of Tanguy Ndombele? Because everyone in the media, everybody who comes on this show, every Spurs fan, we all know what he can do. We all know, we've seen all of the glimpses of magic that he can produce. And I'll tell you what, the away end today was right next to the tunnel where the Spurs players actually came out. He came on in the 85th minute in the game. And I'll tell you what, when he went off, he didn't even acknowledge the Spurs fans. He looked so down. He looked down to the floor, didn't look happy whatsoever. And I thought, Antonio Conte has just been appointed. Is this a case of here we go again? Or is Antonio Conte going to get the best out of him? Because, of course, as we all know, a number of Spurs managers now have had problems with him.
Well, this is the thing. He's going to show Conte in this 2 weeks of the international break, whether he wants it or not. And the most important thing for Conte is to see some kind of effort. And this is not something that man does. He's a luxury player. He wants to start nutmegging people and doing the quiff turns and all of that kind of stuff. I don't think Conte's going to be able to get a tune out of him. He just doesn't have the application or the attitude, and he was right to be annoyed of being left out of the cup final for Harry Winks. Because if you're Ndombele with that much ability and you're being left out for Harry Winks, who literally his attribute is I can tackle and pass sideways, like you're going to be frustrated as a player of that quality. But if he wants to be revered in the sort of the likes of top class, world class players, not only ability, attitude and application, and these are two things that he never seems to show.
Yeah. Ricky, let's come to you. Were you happy with the starting 11?
I would have been a bit like you, Chris. I would have liked Ndombele in there from the start. I think I would have gone with. I thought Sanchez done well, but I don't know how he's feeling after that knock at Vitesse. So I wouldn't have minded to see Romero, Sanchez, maybe Dyer in that back three. But you know what? On Tanguy, I think he's come on last 5 minutes. I think he was disappointed not to start. I think this is what I saw body language wise. And then not only that, he was played on the left. He came on for Son and he went over to the left of the three up top. And that's not his best position. You're not going to get the best out of Tanguy in the left-hand side. It's just not going to happen. So I think there was a lot of disappointment there. I think he's frustrated. I think he's frustrated with himself. And I think it comes back to this thing that Mourinho said about Tottenham being a nice group of boys. Do you know what I mean? And it's a nice group of lads. We need a bit of aggression in there. We need a bit of anger in there. We need somebody to be, angry that they didn't start. And then when they do come on to affect the game. Come on and go, you know what? I'll show you why I should have started. Let me show you right now. But it's really tough for Tanguy to do that if he's playing left wing, So, little bit by little bit, these guys are gonna carry on pushing. Only a couple of tweaks for me in that first 11, Chris. But again, I trust Conte, and he's gone with the same 11 that he did against Vitesse. He's trusted that first 11. He's given this first 11, his trust to kind of put the message on the field, and it's up to them to kind of grasp that chance or let it go and lose their place. So. Yeah, I was a bit like this. Like I say, I would have liked Tanguy to start, just especially if we're playing three at the back. Like Majestic said there, we only need Skip or Hojbjerg to do that one job. So, yeah. But I trust Conte, so I back him.
That point, what you say, Ricky, you trust Conte and you back him. Do you think he's going to get the best out of Tanguy Ndombele? Do you think that he will be a regular fixture in this Tottenham starting 11 going forward? Because, as I said earlier, he's had problems under all of the managers so far at Spurs.
Yeah, but you know what? If it's not going to happen under Conte, then it's not going to happen. Like, Tanguy is damaging his own reputation now. There was talks about Barcelona and Real Madrid and Juventus and all these, and Inter looking at Tanguy. If you can't, get to grips with what you're being asked and kind of pull up your socks and go to work and get in there for Conte, then I don't know where else you're going to do it. So it is really up to him. These next 2 weeks are going to be vital for somebody like Tonge. You know, he was playing pretty regularly under Nuno, and we got a couple of 90-minute spells out of him. We got a couple of good showings out of him. So we know that potential is there. We know that play is there. And if Conte can't get it out of him, or if he doesn't want to work for Conte, then like the boys have said already, like, you know, thanks very much, but see you later. You know, see you later. So this period of time is going to be vital, especially for him and the likes of like Winks and Dele and all of these other players that are on the periphery right now.
Lee, let's come to you. Do you think that this starting 11 today is going to be Antonio Conte's go-to men? This starting 11, is it going to be the regular starting 11 for Conte going forward?
I think it will be, simply because I'm not sure what else he's got to fall back on. You know, I mean, we talk about Davies, but if you're playing three at the back, you want someone on that left side. So if you bring in Sanchez, are you putting Sanchez to the left, you know, or is it going to be Dyer? And we all worry about Dyer. You know, I know Conte might say he's a good player, maybe, and he might be able to get a good tune out of him. I don't know, but you know, I'd be worried about him being on the left there. So at least with Davies there, he's played at that position for Wales and so on. So to me, it looks like that's what he's going to kind of go with. He wants obviously the wingers to push on. So it looks like that to me, yeah, for sure. I mean, just coming in on Ndombele thing, and I might get some pelters over this, but I think he's done. I really do. I think he's done. I don't think he wants to be there at all. I think he wants to go back to France or something like that. I don't think it's working for him. And having lost his mates, you know, I think the best thing for him is to move on and let's get somebody else in there who's quality, because it's just not going to happen. And as Ricky said, if Conte can't get it out of him, then I don't know who can. You know, but for me, I think it's the league. I don't think it's for him. I think it's too fast. I think it's too tough. And it's not what he wants.
Majestic, let's come to you. Now, I take it as a huge positive today to keep a clean sheet in the Premier League under Conte in the first game. But going forward, how on earth have we not scored a goal or even had a shot on target in 3 hours, 46 minutes of Premier League football when you have Heung-min Son and Harry Kane?
Simple as I said, it's that midfield. And the fact... Someone in the comments just said that Reguilon, his attacking ability needs to be questioned. It does. Like, where's that guy gone from last season when he was putting lovely balls in the box for Gareth Bale and that? Ever since his injury, Reggie's not looked the same. He's not had the confidence to drive forward and put crosses in the box. We need to see that. What was really interesting to see on Thursday over Spurs was Conte barking orders at them to go forward, which proves to me, you know, like when Jose said, I'm not telling them to play like this. They're doing it, like, and even Nuno has said it as well before. And he's like, move the ball forward. It's them, these sideways passing. This is what I'm saying by the likes of the Dyers, the Winks, the Skips, the sideways Cyrils, as I call them. Always sideways, man. There's no vision to try and hit it up the wing, try and cut a ball inside. But if you've not got the ability to do that as a football player, this is the thing, right? We have to acknowledge anyone that's a professional footballer is a baller. They're a good footballer. So no one can ever say, oh, they're you know, we always say someone's crap or whatever. They're not. They're a professional footballer. But what we expect to see as fans and what we want from this club, especially with how close we come, 2019, we're in the final of the Champions League. That is the level that we've got to. And now we're not having shots on target for 3 hours. And as we're seeing now, you know, sorry for spoilers for anyone, West Ham beating Liverpool at home. And there's a reason for that, because they're playing as a team, great recruitment, the youth coming through like Rice in their team and stuff, and good buys like Sujek and Kafal. Our recruitment has been useless. That's why we've not had a shot on target for 3 hours, because the recruitment's useless. Lo Celso, yeah, fair enough, he came on and hit the post, he's done well, but he's not been someone we could really sing about. And Ndombele, most of us here, who's our record signing, are all going, get rid of him. And as Lee said, Lee, no pelters for you, mate. Most people are like, we're done with him. How much time do you want to give someone to settle in? And as you rightly said, Chris, like, you know, his pals are gone. No one's there anymore for him. Like, the league doesn't suit his style of play because he doesn't get the time on the ball. It's so, you know, people say it's the hardest league in the world to play. You can tell. That is why those people that are really committed and can take a tackle and a challenge or evade a challenge, they progress very well in the Premier League because it's so fast paced. So it's very simple as why we haven't had a shot on target for 3 hours is because we have no creative pattern of play. We have no pattern of play. We don't have a style. We don't have an identity right now. We had an identity under Poch, which was the high press. We even had an identity under Jose, which was like, we're going to do you on the counter and try and shut up shop and normally fail at doing that at the end. But now, after Nuno and the lack of inspiration, we don't know what our style is. Conte's first job is to get Harry Kane's head back in the game. But
how does he do that?
Well, Harry does sound motivated by the appointment, and he seems like he's up for it, and he respects Conte. And, you know, Harry's a footballing man who, you know, sees these bigger people in terms of like Mourinho and Conte, these names, and he's quite happy to be playing with them. But as Jeffrey said, you know, one striker, we've got one striker in a club. You know, even Liverpool have Origi. This guy scored in the Champions League final against us. He's just scored against West Ham. We've got no backup options. That idea of, oh, you can't have more than one striker because Harry Kane's there. Hang about. We had Defoe behind Berbatov and Keane once. You know, we always used to have 4 strikers. Even Good Johnson used to come on for a little spell, 70 minutes in, start bullying up the back of defences. So it is all down to personnel. Our biggest problem right now is personnel. And Conte has, you know, someone put a really good comment in the comments about a chef. A chef's only as good as his ingredients. And right now we're struggling with the ingredients. And we need to have we got rid of some of the deadwood in the summer, but we need an even bigger exodus. And I don't care if it means us losing money. Get them out, get others in, and we have to progress. And then we can start identifying the players that can play within a system that Conte wants to implement. And, you know, as Lee said, with Ben Davies, well, he's a left-sided defender. He even plays in that position there for Wales. And he's actually better centrally than he is as a left-back, I personally believe. So, you know, playing him, I've got no problem with that, unfortunately, because that's all we have. You can only, you know, you can only dress in the clothes that you've got. Do you know what I'm saying?
Majestic, how do we have that creative play, though? And how do we get Harry Kane and Heung-min Son to score goals? Because, of course, you said earlier about Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg and Oliver Skip playing. You know, no creative player in there. If Ndombele, it's not going to look like he's going to be featuring in a Spurs shirt. Who else is left to, you know, create these goals and create these chances? Has to be
Lo Celso. It has to be Lo Celso. If you look back to when we beat Manchester City at home, he came on, scored that goal, obviously. He was a sub as well, came on. Against Liverpool that time when we drew, I think we ended up losing over Anfield, didn't we? When Bergwijn should have scored and he rolled it over the keeper's leg. He put the lovely ball through to Son. But when he plays for Argentina, if you watch his play, he's very good. So Lo Celso needs a period of time of playing week in, week out, because he's not been starting week in, week out. And I don't think he's really had a run under any particular manager. And I think when he first came in with Jose, when we actually ended up buying him rather than just having him on loan, he was showing us some glimpses of some quality. The difference between him and Ndombele is he's going to work. You know, he's going to put a tackle in. He's got that sort of Argentinian nastiness. He's got his pal Romero behind him as well. That is a big thing in football as well, man. Even, you know, it's like the FIFA Ultimate Team when the Greens start linking up, you know. It is one of them things. It is a thing. So I think, you know, Lo Celso, it could be the person in this meantime while we steady up this ship that might be able to create something. Come on, today's hit the post. You know, he looked lively when he came on. He just needs a run of games. Again, as I said, he's not the saviour. He's not, by no means what we need to go forward and start progressing back towards, you know, the top 6 of the Premier League. But for now, I think he's our option. And then you can start utilising the likes of Bergwijn, who was doing actually all right, you know, the first few games under Nuno, but then got injured, obviously, on international duty. But yeah, I think Lo Celso, if Ndombele is not fancied at all, and I don't think Conte is going to fancy him, because you're not going to get a tune out of him unless he can convince him, like as a footballer, from like a big manager to him, go, look, I'm one of the biggest managers in the world. Cool. If you don't want to apply yourself as a footballer, you're going nowhere, and he takes it in, then cool. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's too far gone for that.
Ricky, obviously you've been on this show many, many times, and we always go through the key moments in the game. Now a 0-0 draw without a shot on target as well. It's very difficult to go through, some of our near chances because we didn't have any. Apart from really just before half time, Harry Kane floated in a ball, Sergio Reguilon shot over the bar, and then right at the end of the game, of course, Lo Celso with his left foot outside the area hit the post. Very, very unlucky. Can you believe that we have gone 3 hours, 46 minutes in the Premier League without a shot on target? That's madness.
That is madness, Chris. That is madness, and it's a very long time since I've seen it like that. It's been a really, really long time since I've seen us not have a shot on goal. And there's the fireworks. West Ham are setting off the fireworks because they're winning against Liverpool already. Yeah, bro, it is really shocking. But like the boys have already said, it is down to the personnel that are there. It's down to the ingredients that are there that we've got to play with. Obviously, we've got to get the ball into Harry and keep him up front at the very least. But it's a work in progress.
The thing is about that, Ricky. Antonio Conte said in the summer during the Euros that Harry Kane should be in and around the 6-yard box to be, because that is where he is really vital and devastating is the word I think he used. Harry Kane still seems to be dropping deep a lot.
I think it's because he feels that he has to right now. Do I think Harry's feeling, he's getting frustrated with not getting the passes up or through or not getting a touch of the ball. So his frustration pushes him back into midfield going, give it to me, I'll set something up or I'll try and do something. And I think it's that frustration of not having an Eriksen to trust that a ball's coming when he sees the run off of the shoulder and stuff like that. So I think it's his frustration that he's going back into midfield to try and gather the ball and then put in crosses. I mean, the commentator said it there, the cross for Reguilon at the end of the first half. The commentator was like, I think Harry Kane would have liked Harry Kane to cross him that ball, and I think that's what we're missing. The wing backs as well, yes, they're in a new system right now, but we need more from them. We need more from both of them. I know Emerson is just getting to grips with the league and the team, and he's just had a shifting manager. So, he's had Nuno telling him one thing, and then Conte's come in and he's scrapped that and he's telling him something else. So I felt the link up between Emerson and Lucas was pretty good in the first 60 minutes or so, first half 60 minutes. There was a lot of nice little touches and link up. And if you look at the play as well, there was a lot of like one-time passes and they were trying to create triangles a lot to try and progress that ball and try and get it into final third. But it's that last bit right now that we need. We need more kind of confidence being shown from these players that they can trust that they can bomb up the field and somebody's going to be there, to head in across, or they're going to be there on the edge of the box. There was a couple of passes today where it was just off. Whether it was a ball over the top or a ball into feet, it was just short or it was just off. And I think that will come. I think that will come. I think that will come, Chris. And it has to. It has to, because if it doesn't, Conte won't stand for it, bruv. He just will not stand for it. Even if he takes certain players out and he starts playing the kids, he's not going to stand for it, So there was encouragement in some patterns of play, or in some, in like I said at the beginning, in the intensity, in the energy, one-touch play, but we still need more. And we there ain't no real excuses for no shots on target. Really, Chris, there ain't really any excuses for it. Even if one of the midfielders had a pop from outside the box or something, but they didn't.
They'll pass it sideways, Ricky. They'll pass it sideways, our midfield, wouldn't they? There's no shots outside the box with our mob.
But you know what, though? But that's what they've been doing for the last 2-3 years, though, at the same time. Do you know what I mean? Like, Mourinho loved the sideways pass. Nuno loved the sideways pass. So it's been that way. Like, I know, Chris, a couple of weeks ago, you was heavily complaining about the sideways pass and the boring and the pace of play. They're trying to shift that. Conte's only been there 5 minutes.
But it's interesting, Ricky. Like Majestic said earlier, even Jose Mourinho was saying, about attacking, and it wasn't him instructing the team to do that. Where is that coming from?
It's coming from fear. It comes from fear. It comes from not having that confidence in your own ability or in your teammates. It comes from fear. It's like, all right, instead of going forward and risking a pass or risking a shot and getting a counter, let's just hold it. Let's just keep hold of it because, at least we'll get something on the possession stats, or, at least it looks like we're trying. It comes from fear, bro. Like they've been battered a couple of times this season and they've gone into their shell again. Having somebody as inspirational as Conte, you saw them the first 30, 40 minutes against Vitesse. You saw them open up and it was like, wow. But then as soon as they started running out of steam, that's what happened. We conceded 2 goals before the half. Do you know what I mean? And I think that those 2 goals before the half and Man United and stuff like that, it creates a fear in kind of playing and expressing yourself. It's the one thing Vitesse had over us, is that they had no fear and they were always encouraged to express themselves. It doesn't matter that they were 3-0 down. Go, play, go, give it. Something will come. Do you know what I mean? Something will happen if you go and push for it. If you believe in everyone that's standing beside you, as well as like the ethos that we're trying to put out onto the pitch. But our side hasn't got it yet. There's a lot of people that kind of go into their shell. So Conte will rattle them. He will wake them up. I promise you, he will. He will. Just give it a little bit of time.
Lee, let's come to you. Now, of course, Harry Kane and Heung-min Son had their best season under Jose Mourinho last year. And, I can't believe, 3 hours, 46 minutes without a shot on target when you've got both of them in the team. Are you worried about Tottenham's lack of creativity? Because it just seems that we never, ever worried about having shots on target or scoring goals. Even when we've been struggling and losing games, we were always scoring goals. The defence, Jose Mourinho changed the defence around constantly last season. And it seems that the problem was defensively, never, ever attacking.
Yeah, no. Listen, I've been calling out the lack of creativity from the start of the season. That for me has been the biggest thing. And I think Ricky hit the nail on the head when he said it's about fear, but about fear of your teammates. Are you confident that your teammates are going to be able to mop up after you or support you or pick a pass or whatever? And if you haven't got that confidence in your teammates around you, then you can't play with that freedom, because footballers are like, they're creative types, aren't they? They want to play, they want to do the best, they want to do the great touches, they want to do the nice stuff. You'll always have players that want to go in for the hard tackle and all that kind of stuff. I get that, but generally speaking, from an attacking point of view, they're always looking for the next great move or whatever, turning it over in transition and so on. So if you're not confident that if you lose the ball, somebody behind you is going to clear that up, then you're going to be a little bit more careful about letting it go, because you ain't going to be you want to be the one who's going to get your ass kicked over it, right? So for me, I think that's the issue. I think it's a lack of confidence in the rest of the team, the players around them, that they're going to do the right thing, and also in themselves that it's always going to come off. If you're playing well and you're winning matches, that creates that confidence. That's why I was so upset when Nuno changed the whole 11 for the Europa Conference game, because if you've gone there and put in a really good performance and won, you've gone into the weekend on the back of a win, playing well, getting your energy levels up and all the rest of it, then that might have been a different result. Do you know what I mean? And I just feel that all the stopping and starting is not helpful. With regards to Mourinho, the biggest criticism I had of Mourinho was he changed the back four every week, every other game. So how
like a roundabout rubbish.
Yeah, how can you build a relationship between two central defenders if they don't know who they're playing with in the next week? Do you know what I mean? That's what made Vertonghen and Alderweireld so good, because they played so consistently together. They knew what they were doing. With Mourinho, it was like, oh yeah, we'll pick you this week, and oh yeah, you can do this game, and I'm trying to be fair to everybody to find out who's the best. When in fact they were all not good enough, So for me, that was the issue with Mourinho and the defence. But creativity, massive problem for me. I almost think if we had another striker, you could almost pull Harry Kane back a little bit, because he's done some good work from midfield. I could see him coming back a bit. We were talking about this on the way up to the Man United game. Maybe if Scarlett is as good as they say he is, maybe he would get a better opportunity for playing with someone like Kane, who could play the ball too and set him up. So he'd get a better opportunity rather than playing with some of the poorer players in the Europa Conference and not getting an opportunity. You know.
Majestic, let's come to you now. When Antonio Conte arrived at Hotspur Way, what do you think the first thing he said to this Tottenham Hotspur team? Because I read a report the other day. Apparently, one of his former clubs, he's gone in and said, it's about time we stop being crap. Do you think he said something similar to the Spurs team? Because, he took charge of Thursday night's game against Vitesse Arnhem. We went 3-0 up. We were cruising in the game, conceded 2 goals. Of course, defensively last season under Jose Mourinho and Ryan Mason, we shipped a lot of goals that we shouldn't have done. Do you think that he mainly focused on the defence in his first training session on Friday at Hotspur Way?
He probably took Dele Alli's PlayStation away was his first thing. He probably looked at him and said, you used to be good, mate. No more Fortnite for you. No, on a level, I think, he's a real person. Like, and he says stuff, he doesn't care because, he is a serial winner. When you're a serial winner, you don't care about people's feelings. You're just there to win. So the first thing he would have looked at is the squad as a whole and the energy of the squad. Someone mentioned in the comments about Son and Kane. Last season, best season together. Son made a really big thing this summer by signing a new contract and committing his future to Spurs. Son loves the club, right? Harry's turned around in the summer and kind of turned around to us lot and gone, obviously I like playing for Spurs, but obviously I want to win trophies and that. So I think that see Son is
he's coming for Darren Altman's job there.
Yeah,
Chris.
I was thinking that.
Like literally, he Son loves the club and they had a beautiful chemistry together. And I remember the last game of the season when they had a little moment with Dele, Son and Harry, and it looked like Harry was going. I think that's upset Son. I think Son is a Spurs man, probably more than Harry is. He's one of our own. I think Son's probably one of our own more than Harry is. And I think that there doesn't seem to be the chemistry between the two of them at the moment. I think, there's still a bit of a... We had the hangover from the Champions League final. Now we've got the hangover from the Harry Kane saga. And, in fairness to Daniel Levy, we kept hold of him, but now we need him to be right back in. I'm a Tottenham man. He started to say the right things with the Conte appointment, like, people are going to put their bodies on the line and stuff like that. So I think the first thing that Conte is going to recognise at Hotspur Way is, how do I get an energy between this group of players? And I hate to harp on about it, it's only because it's in front of me on the TV while I'm doing this, is David Moyes and West Ham. What he's got them doing is playing as a team. What Pochettino got us doing was playing as a team. Even the way when teams celebrate really shows about where they are as a collective and as a team. And, once upon a time when Dele had the handshakes with everyone and we had this little group of players and they played for one another because there was no superstars. That's why we done so well, because everyone was of a level like, oh, how did you get in for 14 million, Ericsson from Ajax? Or, we managed to get Toby, who'd been on loan at Southampton. There was really good recruitment to build that team. Even Carl Walker, the way that he came in, Danny Rose, and they all elevated together. The problem was that everyone got to this position where they thought we're better than Spurs now. And that's one of our biggest problems as a football club in general, because we had it with Martin Jol, with Berbatov, and, them times when Burbs, man, it was such a thing of beauty to watch him play football at White Hart Lane. And then they get to a level, it's like, we're better than Spurs now, let's go to Man United. That was what it was once upon a time. Now we saw that in the summer with Harry and Man City. It's just like, oh, here we go again. So we need to get back to that place where it's a team full of players that are going to play for one another. Ironically, Hojbjerg's name's come up as one where apparently Spurs fans are quite split over whether he's good for us or not. And so I see on social some people like ship him out. I'm like, one thing I love about Hojbjerg is his passion. Yeah. Obviously, before I cut my hair, I look like his fat brother. But I don't know.
You said this to me on a radio interview that I did with you once about you get that comment, and I get the fat Pochettino as well.
Yeah,
so
nice, we'll go on diets and then get like step-ins for him. But no, on a level, Hojbjerg is just a person that seems to want to put his body on the line when he can. He did today. There was a beautiful moment. He ran back. He tracked back. I think we've really lacked leadership on the pitch. And Lloris, I love him as our keeper. I'm never one to say, let's get another keeper. Nah, Lloris is my guy. But as a captain, is he vocal enough? Is there a leader on that pitch really turning around to people, screaming at people, come on, up in the ante? Where is that? I think Conte is going to look at that as well, because we lack leadership on the pitch. We had Toby and Jan and all these players that we once talked about. They're not there anymore. So let's find new leaders in that group. And I think that's what Conte is really going to look at. Attitude, how he can create an attitude of we are together as one, as a team. And then what he does really well, Conte, and we saw him do it with Victor Moses, is when he gets a player and improves him and makes him better, he sticks by him. He made Victor Moses one of the best wing backs in the league that year. How? Because he put his arm around him. That was almost like a project. So it's going to be really interesting to see who he identifies as those players that he's willing to give his time to. He's very Godfather-like, Conte, isn't he? He's like, come to me for the favour. Okay, I'm going to stick by you. I'm going to put my arm around you. I'm going to invest time with you if you want the time. Apparently, he said, I'm going to give you everything, and I expect the same back. So that says everything about Conte.
That's a great point, Majestic. Ricky, let's come to you. Who out of this Tottenham Hotspur squad do you think are going to be winners? Because, looking at the two starting lineups so far in the two games under Conte, Ben Davies has played and started in both of them. Who are going to be the winners here under Conte?
Those that turn up, Chris. Those that turn up and want to fight and want to achieve for this club. Those that turn up and that they've had enough of being mediocre. Do you know what I mean? Those that are kind of show the willingness, the want, the desire, the passion, the leadership. Do you know what I mean? Those are going to be the winners. Davies is winning right now because he started 2 games. Great. But you know what? To jump on what Majestic was just saying there, when I think back to, all right, and before I get pelters, when I think back to the Battle of the Bridge, all right, and yes, we should have won. Yes, we should have got those 3 points. But the one thing that I loved about that whole game is that we was up for the fight. From minute 1 to minute 90, we went at them. Every time they wanted to rough us up or to rattle us, we wanted to rough them up and rattle them back. And this is what I'm saying about the aggression and the want and do you know what I mean? That desire to not just play a pretty pass, but to also like put a foot in. Demand more from those around you. I think Conte is going to bring that back. And I don't think, also to jump on what Majestic was just saying now, I don't think certain players need the armband to be captains on that field. Yes, Hugo's got it, but you've got Dyer. I mean, he's been there and 4 or 5 managers have put him in, and continue to play him. So you've got Dyer that's been there for a minute. You've got Hojbjerg in midfield. You've got Harry up front. We need these players to step up in their leadership roles. We need these people to demand more. We saw what Hojbjerg done for Denmark during the Euros, and he was a leader. He did demand more. He was grabbing people by the scruff of the neck, not physically, but with his energy and with his want and with his desire and with his gestures, he was demanding more from his teammates. So there are some in there, but for some reason or another, when it comes down to Spurs, they wilt a little bit. We need these players to blossom. We need these players to stop having the emotion of I don't want to upset that one, and I don't want to upset that one. We need Hugo to be screaming at the whole of the back line and the midfield and up front, like he did against Sonny in the documentary for not tracking back. So we have these players up there, but they've been wilted. They've gone into their shell. They want to live in the shadow. They don't want to, risk anything, whether it be a tackle or a pass, so that they don't get dug out. No, we can't have that because it's not working. We need them to step up and put their bodies on the line, put everything on the line, because this is the time now. If it doesn't work, like we've said from the beginning, if it doesn't work under Conte, I don't know when it's going to work. I don't know if anybody can take over this group of players and achieve anything with them if it doesn't work under this guy. So turn up. The best thing that Conte said is that everybody starts from zero. So he's given everybody an opportunity to show him that they deserve an opportunity to start, an opportunity to play. I don't know whether you guys saw what he said about Dele. He said it's not just about Dele, but about every single player in there. You show me that you deserve to start, and I'll start you. Do you know what I mean? But that means the whole thing, the whole package, not just a pretty pass, but the aggression, the intensity, the want not just from yourself, but from every player that is standing beside you, behind you, and up front. Like, let's see that. We need more of that coming out of this side, and I think it will.
Lee, let's come to you. As Majestic said, there's a lot of comments about Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg. All of last season, I was saying that Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg is a leader on the pitch. I would like to see him as a future Tottenham Hotspur captain. I actually expected, when Nuno took over in the summer, I expected the captain, would have changed from Hugo Lloris to someone like Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg. Of course, it didn't happen. Hugo Lloris is now in his final year of contract up until the summer. Question for you. Do you think that Hugo Lloris will extend his contract at Spurs? And Stefan writes on the screen now, Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg just isn't good enough. What are your thoughts on Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg?
It's a tough one because I don't think you can get away from the fact that he's not having his best time at Spurs. But when he came in, I thought he was a great buy. I thought he was excellent. And I did, like a lot of us say, a future captain and all the rest of it. And coming back to your point about the players that are gonna win under Conte, I think players like Hojbjerg and Dyer will, because they show the right attitude. And I think that's the key for it in terms of Hojbjerg, is that he's got the right attitude that Conte is looking for. He wants that battling, never say die, keep it going kind of attitude where he'll put his life on the line. He'll go in there, he'll stick his foot in, he does the dirty work and so on. And I think that's why Dyer, because I've seen some comments about Dyer as well. That's why Dyer gets in the team, right? Because he might not be the best, but he wants to be. He wants to do everything. He wants to get in the way of everything. He chucks his head in. He gets in the way and so on and so forth. And I think managers trust that. They like that because they think this guy's got it all in for me, regardless of how technically good he is. I can work on that. It's the attitude's the problem. You've got Tongai Ndombele, who's got all the skill in the world, but the worst attitude. And then you've got Eric Dyer, no skill, but the right attitude. Do you know what I mean? And if you're a manager, you're looking at, what do I need out of this team? I need a battling spirit and so on, With regards to Hugo, I don't know. I don't know what's going through his head. I think, he's probably thinking to himself as he's getting older now, he's won a couple of major trophies with France. Does he have anything to prove, really? Not really. But he might still have that hunger to win something at Spurs. I mean, today, I thought he had a better game. He was far quicker off his line. He was coming out quicker, closing stuff down, which we hadn't seen for a while. I think if we go back to last season, I criticised him for being too static on his line and not coming anymore, And so, and I was thinking that the back four didn't trust him. It got to that point where I thought over the last couple of games, you can see that desire coming back, So I don't think it's unreasonable to think that he might extend his contract. And in terms of being the captain, I guess for a manager and for a club, it's not all just about what they do on the pitch. It's what they do outside of that. It's what they do behind the scenes with the players and so on, because you don't know how much he might be spending time with players, helping them and talking them through. And, so I think there's a lot more to it. From our point of view, it's about what you do on the pitch. But from a club point of view, as a leader, it might be more than that. So I don't know. But I agree with Ricky. I don't think you need to have an armband on to be a captain. I think if you've got the right attitude, you should be holding your teammates to account if they're not doing what you want them to do or they need to do. You should be able to turn around to your player and say, what are you doing? Get yourself in position, You don't need an armband to do that.
Majestic, before I ask you about the VAR decision, any more impressions of any Tottenham players?
Tottenham coaches, we can do a bit of old school yo. I used to love yo. I know Mado's a good player as well. Gino and the Beerbadov as well, I used to love Ricky when he was the fat boy, when the Beerbadov and the Kane, this is going to be good players, Don Yo was the guy.
Darren's going to be fuming, mate. I tell you, Darren's going to be at home.
Fuming. But
do you know what?
Back to what people were saying about Hojbjerg, right? This is what I ask. What's Hojbjerg's job? What between us here, Chris, Lee, and Ricky? What's Hojbjerg's job to you as a player in Tottenham? What's his job in that midfield? Is it to disrupt play, or is Hojbjerg a creative player? If his job is to disrupt play and he's having probably not a great start to the season. He's top of the league table for tackles in the Premier League right now. 33 tackles.
Yeah.
Him and Allen are joint at the top. So he's doing the job that he's supposed to do. I think if we're expecting him to be like doing more than that, and don't forget, we were very spoilt with Ndombele. We've not replaced Ndombele. This is the problem with the Spurs team that we had to what we have now. We haven't replaced any of them players. We haven't replaced Ndombele. We haven't replaced Eriksen. We haven't replaced Kyle Walker. We haven't replaced Danny Rose. We haven't, like, the one person I'm looking at and thinking, hang about, we've got a central defender now, is Romero. Yeah, he's hot-headed. He's an Argentinian who's a nutcase. But I like that. He might get the Battle of the Bridge vibes going like Ricky's talking about, because we miss that as a team. But Romero looks composed on the ball. He can come forward. He's quick. He anticipates. I'm like, right, there's one of Toby or Jan, hopefully in the long run. And I think we can do that. You know, in terms of replacing the other players, I think Hojbjerg is the replacement for the likes of, say, a Wanyama or someone like that, someone that was disrupting play. That's what Hojbjerg is there to do. So if you play Hojbjerg and Skip together, Hojbjerg is going to look even worse than what some of these people think of him, because, like, there's no creativity between them two whatsoever. I saw some comments in here saying hospital passes by Hojbjerg. But you say that, he's actually put some decent assists in, scored a goal against Villa, you know. So for me, he's like doing more than what he needs to do in that role, because we need someone next to him that can do something moving forward. And that's the thing for me. If your job is to intercept and disrupt play, then I think that Hojbjerg is doing his job. And I think if you expect any more than that of him, then you might be thinking about the wrong kind of player here, because that's not his job.
Majestic, are you surprised by a lot of negative comments after today's result and performance? Because, of course, if everything was rosy, we were scoring goals, we were creating chances, and we were high up in the league, of course we wouldn't have Antonio Conte now.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, you know, it's interesting watching the comments come through, and that it's like, right, this is, you know, we're all realistic Spurs fans. This is going to take a while. Spurs as a club right now we're underachieving from the goals that we've set out and what we've set the bar as of recent times. You know, there'll be so many people in here that'll be like the Levy outs, etc. Yeah, Levy needs to be held accountable. With Hitchin, recruitment has been awful. Yeah, but the same people, or before, you know, Hitchin and that, put together a team that got us to a point of challenging for the league, etc. So we can go again. The right manager, the players believe in what the philosophy is of that. And that's what we need. We need a philosophy, an identity, and a strategy. I just feel like we've been lost for a few years. It is almost like, I'm sure I heard some of the commentators say it before with Poch and the team, because we was doing such a high press and it was so intense and we were so fit that we were running to the 93rd minutes of games, that this group of players will burn out. And this group of players did burn out. And a lot of them have gone now, have gone somewhere else. And if they were good enough, like Kyle Walker or whatever else, they've gone to a top team. Now it's like reset. Let's go again. What's the identity under Conte? Because we're going to believe in that and trust what he does. Nuno, we didn't believe in or trust. Levy didn't, because he was his sixth choice. So now we're at a place that's like, right, restart. It's just so Spursy of us that we've had to wait until 9-10 games into the season where we're chasing our tails. At least I can say the only at least is that they pulled the trigger this early on. We've got the international break, which is almost like a small pre-season for those that are left behind from international duty. And then we get to January, see where we are. Because at the moment, you know, we're like 4, 5 to 7 points off of the top 6, because that's where we're looking at, top 6, not top 4. And then let's see where we're at with that. And, you know, I just think that this is why you kind of feel for Harry, and obviously I want to go to Manchester City. You understand why, because at his age and his place in football right now, are you ready for another project rebuild? Because this is where we're at. It's another rebuilding project. But as long as you've got, and okay, at the moment they're not playing very well, and it's ridiculous of us if we're in the comments going, Kane out, he's done. Come on, man, he's having a dip in form. People are talking about Mo Salah being the best player in the world right now. They weren't saying that a few months ago, like, because he's back in form, he's back firing. So I just think if we can get an identity, Conte immediately identifies who he wants to work with in that group of players and sticks by them. Lee mentioned it earlier on about that, you know, we Toby and Jan playing together week in, week out, building that, you know, that camaraderie. One thing Conte is going to do is stick with that same team. Once he identifies what it is, he'll stick with it, and then they can learn to play with each other. Having that sort of, continuity of team is going to help every single player. I could name you what Pochettino's first 11 was when we used to play under Poch, because you just knew every week that's what it was. And then they had a pattern of play. So we need to get back to that. And, we're not expecting miracles overnight. As I said, for me, this is a real steadying of the ship. January, see what happens. And even then, it's steadying till the end of the season. And then we go again in the summer and see where we're at. And just now, all I want to see with Spurs is just, and we've not done it in 3 odd hours, as you were saying, is just some attacking football, some football that gets us off our seats. And excuse the opposition that we played on Thursday. Obviously, we know that, that's not high-class opposition. But there was a little 20-minute spell where we were driving forward, and I was actually off my seat a couple of times over Tottenham. And I have not really done that in recent times over Spurs.
Ricky, let's come to you. I just wanted to talk about the VAR incident, the penalty incident. Of course, the referee gave Everton a penalty in the 64th minute and then retracted the decision. The correct decision for you?
Absolutely. Come on, you Spurs. Absolutely. Yes. No, but on the reels, it was. I think Hugo got a hand to it. I think he got his fingers to it. You saw the deviation of the ball itself in slow-mo as well. So I think, well done to the referee for reversing that call. And also, even for the call on, who was it? Who got sent off? What was his name? Holgate. Even that. So that was another VAR decision where, the referee had to go and look at the monitor and made the right call for me, So, I think we was, I don't want to say lucky, but maybe there was a bit of luck there. But it was the right decision. Hugo got to it. And, I know we're talking about Hugo being in his last year and stuff like that. But honestly, listen, if he goes at the end of the season, we are going to miss him more than all right? Yes, bringing Galini in is a fantastic bit of business that they've done there, because for the first time in a long time, he's had a genuine competitor for his place, right? Which is going to push Hugo. If you look at, for instance, Brad Friedel, when we brought in Brad Friedel, how old was he? 36, 37? I think he carried on playing until he was 39, 40s or something like that. He did get better with age. And I just think that Hugo's, I don't know, he's just a class act, man. And I do hope that the club see fit to give him another year's deal at least, and help bring someone like Galini on a bit more. Do you know what I mean? I think if we put all the pressure on Galini next year, I think it's still going to be a kind of a transitional period for Galini. So
Brad was 40, Ricky, when he came to us. 40.
There you go. 40.
Mad.
And I loved Friedel. I really did. I thought he was dynamite. I thought he commanded the box. I thought, his effort, his desire, everything that he brought to us at that time was perfect. Do you know what I mean? And I think there is an element to me. It's about Hugo. If Hugo wants to leave, then all right, and bruv, no worries. But if it's down to us, then I say give him another contract. But believe that he's the one that's going to turn up for us, because he's turned up for France. Do you know what I mean? He's won the World Cup and the Nations League just 5 minutes ago. And you saw there was a fingertip save that he had against Vitesse, which was a dynamite save. Fingertip today, I thought it was, again, dynamite save. Not only that, he was coming out and heading the ball today, Chris. He was heading the damn ball in defense
a couple
today.
of times, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So he is definitely one that's been with us long enough that we should give him something back, and trust in him that he can improve his performances and he can step up to the plate when asked to, and when somebody like Conte demands him to.
It would just be such a great shame, again, for another fantastic player that served at Tottenham for so long. Now, if his contract ends in the summer, 10 years at Spurs without a trophy at Spurs would just be dreadful. Ricky, just wanted your thoughts on, do you think it's going to be frustrating for Antonio Conte now that the fact that it is the international break? Of course, he's just arrived. He wants to work with these players on the training pitch. Most of the squad will go off on international duty. But as Majestic said earlier, players like Ndombele, he could probably work very closely with in this next 2 weeks? Is it going to be a good spell, a good next 2 weeks for him, or will it be frustrating at the fact that most of the squad are going off?
I think it's a bit of both. I think it's frustrating that he's not going to have the full squad to work with, but I think he's going to use the time to his benefit to see what else is in this squad, to see what other options he's got, to drill in the demands and the wants that he needs in a team. So I think he will definitely use the time, but of course he'll be frustrated that some of the first teamers are there. But I've got a feeling that in this international break, in previous international breaks, I think a lot of the players were really happy to jet off and get away from Tottenham. I think this time, those that are jumping on the plane are going to be a bit like, oh, I wouldn't have minded to stay in these 2 weeks to see what Conte's got to say and to get a bit more from him. So the increasing desire to be at Tottenham and to do what is needed, I think is going to be, again, used to our benefit. So, yes, he will be just a little bit frustrated, but it's the last international break. And then we can go on a bit of a run until the new year, until the other one turns up. But he gets to see what else is in that squad. He gets to look closely at Tunge. He gets to look closely at Lucas, and he gets closely. He gets to work with those that are left in defence. Those that are left at home, and look at that midfield. He gets to look at us top to bottom. And like Majestic said there, he's staying at the ground. Why? Because he eats, lives, and breathes football. So he's gonna do the most. He's gonna be able to watch as many videos. You know what I mean? He can finish watching the Amazon documentary to do research on our players. He's on a page with Paratici. You've got to remember, Paratici ain't just a director of football that sits back. He's an analyst. Chris, throughout pre-season, he was at every game, and it wasn't just so that he could get a free hot dog at half time. He was there assessing the squad. Do you know what I mean? So Conte's going to be able to sit down with Paratici and go, look, tell me what's going on. Tell me what's going on with Dele. What's your assessment? Tell me what's going on with Harry. What's your assessment? What do we need? What do you think? So they're going to have that back and forth as well, which I think is going to benefit us in the long run.
Absolutely. He is so involved. He is everywhere at the club at the moment. Lee, let's come to you. Of course, after the international break, Spurs have a run of games against Leeds in the Premier League, Mura in the Europa Conference League, Burnley away, Brentford at home, Norwich at home, Rennes at home, Brighton away, and then, of course, we face Leicester away and Liverpool at home. Those next, 6-7 fixtures, on paper, and I know football isn't played on paper before anyone says it, those games, they look, a good run of games for a new boss to come in and get a good reaction from these players.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You've got to look at that period and go, right, if we can't get a hatful of points out of that, then there's a worry. There's a real worry in that because, we've had some tough fixtures of late. So going into those, you've got to be looking at them going, yeah, I fancy some of them games,
Majestic, come to you. What are you expecting from this season? Particularly now Antonio Conte has taken charge at Spurs. You mentioned there we should be aiming for top 6, not top 4. Will Tottenham and will Antonio Conte take the cup competitions a little bit more seriously than previous managers? And can we go on to win a cup?
We're going to win the league. No, in all seriousness. I don't even think Conte's thinking like that now. He wants to win every single game. So I don't care what cup it is. Even the Europa Conference, which is like sponsored by like my dad's business or something. It's just like it's the most like Mickey Mouse league in the world. He wants to win it. He's a serial winner. If you're a serial winner, you want to beat your kid at playing football in the garden. Like imagine Conte's poor kids probably like getting hacked in the garden by him, going, I still win. Like he's not giving anyone an out, right? So, I think that he will take those competitions seriously. But as serious as he takes them, how serious are our players going to take them? Because I tell you what, if we're in an FA Cup competition in January, February, whatever, and Harry Winks is still at our club, he's still going to come on and do the world's worst performance like he did against Everton last year when he passed the ball backwards and we lost. Like, it doesn't matter what Conte wants. It's the players, it's the personnel. So, he has got an uphill struggle. He has got this group of players at their very, very worst. Like, it's not like when Jose came in and he's like, Harry Kane's pumping. He's still got 4 years left on his contract. He's not asked to leave. Conte's got a lot of picking up everyone from the floor. So he'll take every competition seriously. Let's just see if he can motivate those players too. And in terms of a successful season for us now, geez, if you get European football, even the Conference League again, it's going to be a successful season. The only thing I'll say is that, yes, today would have been nice with a win, but to go to Goodison and get a point is still not a bad result. Even though they're not doing so well, they needed to react. They've got decent players in their team. They needed to react to losing to Watford and losing to West Ham at home. So they had to react. We needed to react. Fair result. But the the fixtures we got coming up, you could go on a little bit of a half-decent run. And, we know what Manchester United fixture list is like. We know what, all the other teams around each other are playing each other. Liverpool dropped points today to West Ham. People are going to drop points. So if you can get a little run together up to Christmas time and then you start the new year, you're looking at the transfers, etc., and you're only a few points, what we now? We are currently 6 points off of the top 4. So if you can change that around within the space of 4 or 5 games and you're 3 points off the top 4, then it becomes a different prospect. But we're back in that place now, especially with Arsenal doing all right now, and they seem to be settling. Where we can't let St. Tottenham's Day come back. That cannot happen. We have to finish above them minimum. And I've not really been watching them for the last few years going, we need to finish above them. It's a must. I've been focusing on our stuff. However, now we kind of need to be careful that doesn't change, because from a mentality shift, if that happens and the whole talk of us going backwards, and West Ham finish above us, Arsenal finish above us, then it's all becoming a reality. Because at the moment, it's just we're in a dip of form. Players ain't playing well, but if we can get to the end of the season and reinstate the fact of where we need to be, which is a top 6 club, this league is hard and people invest. The top 6 is fastly becoming the top 10, and we need to be in that top 6 mix. We need European football again, because again, just from a business point of view, no midweek football for that stadium is just financial suicide.
Is it all about league position for you, though, rather than going serious and all out to try and win a trophy? Because as we know, even under Mauricio Pochettino, and I love the guy, absolutely adored him as a manager, he made some strange decisions in some of these key cup games. Chelsea semi-final at Wembley, playing Heung-min Son at wing-back, for instance, which was a strange decision. Michel Vorm in a semi-final as well. Will Antonio Conte go all out to finish as high as he can in the league? Will he be instructed to do so? Because, of course, we all know, we've all said that word. He is a winner. He loves to win a trophy. And if any manager comes in at Spurs, wins a trophy, they're going to go down as a club legend, because we haven't had a trophy for so long.
Absolutely. And as you said, Poch made strange decisions, because and you remember Poch was brought in a different way. Even Ricky said at the start, when Poch got brought in, was the guy from Southampton. Why? We didn't know what he was going to be about. We never expected what happened, to happen. His target every year was top 4. Make sure you finish top 4. That was his target. He'd done his thing and got the target. For him, he's not worried about that sort of Spurs haven't won a trophy in years. This is my target. This is what we're going to do to progress, to make us into a Champions League team, which we did. And that was his targets. Now, I think it's probably even more important to get the monkey off the back, so to speak, in terms of winning a trophy. That if we was to win a trophy and didn't get European football, then I'm fine with that. Jamie O'Hara said, I'd rather win the Carabao Cup and finish below Norwich, as long as it weren't relegation, than finish in the top 6. I don't agree with that. I don't think if you finish in 13, 14. Because the other thing with Spurs is, and let's have it right, there is a media narrative against us as bottlers and Spursy and all that. Newcastle get, coming up on Sky Sports, the Newcastle Darlings that nearly won the league. And we get Spurs bottled a 2-horse race. There is a complete different agenda when it comes to talking about Spurs. Even with West Ham or Everton and clubs like that haven't won trophies in a long time, they don't get the same pressure as we do. Perhaps it's because we're talking about having Conte as a manager and being at Champions League final, that we revere ourselves in a different way to they do. But I think it's very important for us to try and win some form of trophy. And if we can go out into that Carabao Cup and beat West Ham and stuff like that and really sort of keep kicking on, there's no reason we can't. And one thing Conte, he said after the match today, he goes, I needed to see if this group of players were up for the fight. today they showed me they were up for the fight. And it got tasty out there today, especially after like Richarlison and they didn't get the penalty the way they wanted to. It did heat up, and our boys did step up and give as good as they take. As Ricky was saying, like the Battle of the Bridge, we need more of that, and that's hopefully what Conte can bring out of us.
Ricky, let's come to you on the same question. Now Antonio Conte is a head coach. What are you expecting at the end of the season?
I'm expecting progression. I'm expecting to see a team where I can believe in them and know that the season coming, the next season, will be one full of fire and brimstone, my friend. Like, he is a winner. He demands, like we've said the whole way through, he demands performances. He demands, to increase your level in every single game. So he's going to go out there to win every single game. I think even with the Conference League, I think the opportunity to play against Mourinho's Roma is going to be a driving force for him. I don't think he's going to care how big or small the trophy is. Like Paratici was saying the other day, he doesn't recognize big or small trophies. He just sees trophies, and we're going to put the right structure in place so that we can win trophies. So I think he's going to go for it all. And if we drop off, I think those that drop off are going to get it, and they're going to come out of the side, and somebody else is going to be given an opportunity to push us forward. You know what we're saying about, skill, Eric Dyer and Tonga Ndombele. I think it was John Terry, that spoke about hard work beats talent every day. Do you know what I mean? So you can have all the talent in the world, but if you haven't got hard work and focus and dedication to your craft and to your own standards, then you're not going to reach those heights. I think right now we're going to start seeing the hard work. Nuno spoke about hard work every single week, but did I see it? I didn't really see it. I was hoping to see it. I was hoping to see, all of this hard work that they're doing on the training field to rectify the week before's result in this result. I didn't really see it, but I know I'm going to see it with this side. I know I'm going to see it with this side, with this manager. So I think he's going to go for everything. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, no jokes. I wouldn't be surprised if he is looking at the top of the league, because I think that's where he's like, shoot for the stars. And if we fall slightly below it, then all right, cool. We're still doing all right. But I think he's going to go for it. I think he's going to go for everything that is on the table, because we're still in everything that's on the table. That next cup game against West Ham, we're going to see a totally different aggression, motivation, different desire, different everything, different performance than we saw a couple of weeks ago. So I think it's exciting times ahead, mate. I think it's exciting times ahead. Like I said, he hasn't got a magic wand. There's still a lot that needs to be done. There's still some that need to come out of this team and some new recruits to come in. But we're on our way. We are on our way.
I agree, Ricky. Love the positivity. Lee, same question for you. What are you expecting at the end of the season? Can Tottenham get top 4, top 6? Can we put a trophy in the cabinet?
I think, if you're, as Ricky said, if you're aiming for the stars and you just don't quite get there, then that means you're going to be somewhere there or thereabouts, right? So if we can get into the top 6 or something like that, get European football, which I think is important, like we said, it's good stuff to get the midweek games and so on and so forth. But I want to see that progression. I want to see us getting back to where we were. We've dropped off. We've gone so far down. Now's the time to start climbing. Me, I absolutely love a trophy. I absolutely love a trophy. I don't care what it is. I don't care whether it's the Conference League or whatever. For me, it's a trophy, right? Yeah. We'll get absolutely hammered if we don't win it, because everyone's saying, oh, you should win it. You're supposed to be so big. And then we'll get absolutely hammered if we do win it, because they go, oh, it's Mickey Mouse.
Yes.
But someone's got to win it, right? So if West Ham could go out and win the conference, mate, they'd be happy. They'd be over the moon. Make no mistake about it. The same as everybody else, right? So for me, a trophy is the most important thing. And I think if you go out with the intensity of you're going to win every game, regardless of what game it is, then that's all you can ask for, right? You give it all, you leave it on the pitch. That's what I want to see. I want to see them leave it on the pitch. I don't want them walking off smiling and having a cuddle with a player from the opposition. I want them pushing them away, saying, get away from me, you just done us over or whatever. I want to see that kind of progression. I want to see the team really fighting for the fans, for the manager, for their own pride, to drive us forward. You know, I'm fed up with all this. You know, it don't matter. Top four's the be all and end all and all the rest of it. Might be for the club, but it ain't for me. I couldn't give a monkeys. I'd rather, if we could win the Champions League, great. If we can't win the Champions League, let's win Europa. If we can't win the Europa, let's win Europa Conference. If you can't win the FA Cup, win the Carling Cup or whatever it's called now. I don't care. I just want some kind of silverware because that's what being a fan's all about, seeing your team win something.
Wouldn't it be great to meet Jose Mourinho's Roma in the final? That would be incredible. Lee, let's stay with you. Faz writes here, I love the one-touch forward passes when we had the ball. Now, when you look at the second goal that Spurs scored in the Vitesse Arnhem game, that whole build-up play and then finished off by Lucas Moura, that is the type of football that we want to be seeing this season, isn't it?
No, absolutely. And I was watching that game. I didn't go up to the game when I was having to watch it on a dodgy stream on my phone. But for the first sort of 20 minutes, it was fantastic. The football, you could really see a difference. It was almost like they're taking the shackles off. You know, let's go for it. And that said to me that all this about the players, you know, not caring or not wanting to do it and the rest of it, for me, that threw it out the window because you could see that they could do it. So if they could do it, it's because they either didn't want to because they didn't believe in the manager, or the manager didn't want them to. It's one or the other for me. So as soon as he came in and said, right, you're fighting for your place, you're fighting for the club. I want to see you going out there and doing your best for us. For that first 20 minutes or so, it was you know, great. It was great to be back. For me, the worst part of that was when we let the goal in. That for me was a turning point in that game. You could literally see that build up just drain from them. Like, here we go again. You know, we've worked all that hard. We've done all the good stuff, and now it's all going to go wrong. And that's a confidence thing that we were talking about earlier, and believing in your teammates that you can do the right thing.
Last couple of questions now. Just wanted to talk a little bit about the January transfer window. Majestic, let's start with you. Feel free to give us any names or any positions you feel that Tottenham need to strengthen in the January transfer window. Do you think much business will be done by Tottenham? And do you see any current players heading out the door?
It's such a minefield, the January transfer, isn't it? A lot of people on here already said about the fact that you only get rubbish in January and you don't really get season changes. I was just literally trying to Google who was buying in January over years gone by. I remember under Harry when I think we got like Ryan Nelson and Louis Saha in the January transfer window. It was supposed to be like Suarez, someone else, wasn't it?
Would you prefer to get no one rather than get second-rate players that aren't that great?
I'll take some people in, whoever. Like, us four will sign up because just some new energy in there. Like, we need some new energy. That the squad is stale, right? It's a stale squad. You know, we've last year we had Bale and Vinicius as backups in the forward area. You know, a lot of people again like thinking that Bale's going to start doing runs down the wing like he did against Inter Milan at the age that he is. No, but look at the goals that he scored. We've not replaced that. So we need some kind of attacking options for sure. Some kind of backup, someone that's going to score goals. Someone here mentioned about having Danny Ings and things like that. The problem with Danny Ings is he wants to play week in, week out. This is the one problem I mentioned before with if you come to Spurs, you're not guaranteed to play because of Harry Kane. I think that changes under Conte. You play. If you're not, if Harry Kane is playing like this, then Danny Ings, you're in, mate, until you don't play, you know? And we just need to really refresh the team in terms of, you know, who's going the other way? You know, look, Harry Winks, he's a Spurs lad. We love him. And, you know, everyone harps on about the fact that he, you know, had a great game against Real Madrid once, but he was next to Moussa Dembele. I think I'd have a great game against Real Madrid if I was next to Moussa Dembele, you know? So I think I'd like to see the likes of Winks and that move on. Like, let's stop here. Let's. And is this the final chance for Dele Alli? I've already done it on TalkSport before with D-Day for Dele. Is this D-Day Part 9 like a bad movie for Dele Alli? You know, can Conte finally get it out of him? The thing with Dele is, at the age that he is and the ability that he's shown in his time at Spurs, he's still got just that much credit left. That's the credit. The credit, you know, he's almost like a Nokia 3310 battery. Like, it's just his credit's been running for years, bruv. No charger, you know. But bruv, he's at the end. He's at the end now. He's on the one bar. So we will see. I think you know. Someone said Ali can F off too, but I think with Conte, final chance saloon, and if it's not done with Conte, he's gone in the summer. But I think there's like the likes of Winks and that need to go, and I think we need to find a long-term partner for Romero in the centre of defence, because I don't care how good a manager Conte is, yeah? Like, if Conte makes Dyer a quality centre-back Romero, I'll have a six-pack in the summer, because that's how unlikely it is, you know? Like, I just think a couple of refreshing players to come in, clever, and Ricky's mentioned about how important Paratisi is to this, and his ability to look into other markets and knowing, the Italian league so well and all that, finding those little gems. Because I tell you what, I hate to harp on about them. It's only because they're on the telly. But the subjects, the Cafals that West Ham have gone and found, where were they? Why are we not in for these players? Because they're the players that we could really benefit from. So, yeah, just some new blood and some of that deadwood that should have gone in the summer with the likes of Sissoko and that. And I think Harry Winks is on the final list for me. I don't care that he played all right today. Ben Davies is on that list. And Dyer is, but we've got no options. So, I think that's where I'm at. But it's January. You've got to be realistic. But let's hope that because it's Conte and Paratisi, they're already in their head thinking we're going to go from the 1st of Jan. Let's go,
Majestic, as he's been on a couple of times on this show already, I've got to ask Harry Kane whether he's still going to be a player on the 1st of Feb.
Yeah, obviously, I'd like to play for Spurs, and Man City wanted to. Yeah, obviously, it's going to go and do some international duty, and hopefully next season, Mr. Levy will let me out of the cupboard. But yeah, obviously, thanks a lot.
Ricky, how can you follow that?
I'm glad you're going to him.
Oh, bro. Oh, my gosh. That's amazing.
Ricky, do you know what? Everybody who comes on this channel, I ask them that same question. Who do we need in the summer transfer window? Who do we need in the January transfer window? It's always the same answers. Will we get these deals done in January? And can you see any players leaving?
I think we need to get at least one or two done in January. Now we've got an opportunity to kind of get ahead of the game with the striker Vlahovic at Fiorentina, and I think we need to use that relationship that Parachi has and make it work for us. I think we need to go in there, and if we're going to invest, then let's do that. Let's get a second striker in at least. I think Doherty needs to be, if it's for me, mate, Doherty would be first one on the out list. He hasn't had the best of times with us, but he at the same time, he hasn't shown us anything. Ever since he started, he hasn't shown us anything. I didn't really see much of him at Wolves because I didn't really watch much of their football in the season that he done really, really well. But I looked at the stats and I was like, oh, well, maybe we've got a bit of a Stevie Carr regen on our hands, but we haven't. We haven't. I don't like him at right back. I don't like him at right wing back. Not that he's had a go at right wing back, but I don't like him there either. And I don't like him at left. I can't stand him at left. It was so one-sided today. I was just like one-footed. I was just like, no. I'm kind of done with him right now. And then I think. With Conte and Paratici, they're assessing the squad. I think there might be some big names on that list going out the door, because like Majestic was saying there about Tonga, maybe he's going to be on the list there, because if he doesn't step up and show the attitude needed and the hard work and the focus that's needed to progress this team and to turn into a player that we can rely on, then I think he'll be out the door as well. And maybe, Don Fabio can work another kind of Lamella deal where we shipped off Lamella with a little bit of dough to get Brian Hill in, or maybe we can use Tanguy as a make weight plus a little bit of money for Vlahovic. Even like the defender at Fiorentina, Milenkovic. I think he was dynamite. I think we missed out on an opportunity on signing him. I think he would be great at centre back. Skriniar, we know about Skriniar for years now, a couple of years. I think he would have been transformative if Mourinho got him in.
Skriniar's going to be like our João Moutinho. It just never will happen. Like Moutinho was just linked with us for years and years.
It's Damio, bruv. Do you remember Damio?
Oh my God, Damio as well.
Damio. I was praying for Damio year in, year out, until it just got to the point where he retired, and I was like, "Oh, we're never gonna get him. We're just never gonna get him." So maybe, bro. But I trust in the process, and I trust that Don Fabio is, if Skriniar doesn't come, then he's got a list of a couple of others in there that can do a fantastic job, because we saw it when we first brought in Jan. It took ages to bring in Toby, right? So at the beginning, I knew, because I like Dutch football and stuff like that, and I like Ajax. So I knew that them two had not only played together for years, but they grew up together. So when Toby went to, it was Atletico Madrid, I think it was, and then he was on loan from there to Southampton. I was begging and pleading. I'm like, bring him in. Them two will be dynamite together because they will understand each other. It's the same with Romero now. We have got a gem in Romero. What he needs is a partner that he can trust, and when he goes forward, can mop up for him, and when he drops back, he can then push forward as well. Do you know what I mean? So I trust that even like the targets that we was after in the summer, or that we was looking at, Pau Torres, Kunde, you know, these are dynamite defenders there. So if it ain't going to be Skriniar, I think it needs to be somebody of that ilk. And I think with a manager like Conte now in charge, I think it's going to be a lot more attractive to those coming in, because they're going to go, 1 minute, this guy's he is a winner, and they are building something. You know, those that are coming in can have trust in what we're putting down, in the foundations that we're putting down to push forward. So I would hope for 1 or 2 in January, but the big business is going to happen in the summer.
Lee, same question for you. Do you see any players coming in the January transfer window?
I think there's got to be 1 or 2. I think, I don't think they can afford not to do something in January. I don't think it'll be massive. I don't think there'll be lots, but I think a lot would depend on how many we can get out, and I think there must be a plan for that. I can see several of them going out. I think Winks, as much as I love him as an ML Hempstead boy and Tottenham fan and all the rest of it, but he's done. It's not going to happen for him now. He needs a new challenge. Doherty, again, I'm like, see you later, mate. I drive you. Where you going? I don't want you there. Davis as well. I think it's time. It's time to move on. Tungai, see you later. You're done. And even Delhi, I like you say, he's hanging on there by us. But if it was all just based on his clothes, I'd say get rid. Because even I will wear boohoo man. You know what I mean? So to be fair, I think it's time for him as well. So, but there's some money in that. I still think there's some money in that. That's going to help us more in the summer. But I think we got to get another striker in. We've been saying it for years. We need another striker to back up for Harry, because it's not happening for him. He needs some competition for sure. And a creative midfielder desperately needs some sort of creativity in there. So,
Ricky,
there's
what is it with this channel? And what is it with this channel of people slagging off clothing brands? There goes another sponsor.
No more boo, no more pony. Goodness
That's
gracious.
it. Right, final question for you all. Majestic, let's start with you. Just want 2 predictions. A prediction for our next league game at home at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium against Leeds United in 2 weeks' time. And where you think, with this current squad and Antonio Conte working his magic, where you think Spurs will finish at the end of the season?
I think the next game against Leeds, I think we go and give them a stuffing, to be honest with you. I think that's where, at home, I think, as Lee said, that first sort of 20 minutes of football against the team on Thursday, where we looked like the shackles were off, and that third goal where Lucas, everyone was involved in the move. I was like, yeah, oh my. I don't even think that stadium, bar Son's goal that time against Burnley, I'd been off of my chair like as frequent I was early on in that game. So I think that game, you get a 2-0 to 3-0 against Leeds. I think defensively we're going to be solid from now on. I think that's his priority, isn't it, Conte? But I do think that with the way that Leeds play, you can pick them off, because they do play, very attacking football, so there'll be a lot of holes. And I think with Conte, I think, we finished probably about 6th. I just think that, it is a quarter of the season, I suppose, with the amount of games that we played so far. I think the -7 goal difference, being 6 points off of the top 4 at the moment doesn't sound a lot, but it will become a lot. But as I said, the fact of the matter is, I'd like to think we've had our dip in form now already. We've had the big problems now. Whereas under Jose, we was top of the league going into Christmas time. Like, we was around that position, and then we fought it off. So hopefully it's now the problems, and then we can go forward. The international breaks have been a pain in the backside this year as well. It just seems like every other week, you know, it's just like, oh, another international break, fantastic. So I think with all of that out of the way, you know, and you get to the start of the new year, and you go, right, we'll go now. We'll see where we can end up. And I'd like to see us finish minimum 6th, and with a trophy, even if it is the conference, like, you know, like Lee said, win it. Well, it's Mickey Mouse. Don't win it. You lot couldn't even win the Mickey Mouse trophy. So I don't care what other fans think. You know, we're Tottenham Hotspur. We signed up for this. This is pain and torture. Chris, you're sitting in your car, you know, up north in the cold, like putting it in for the fans. And, you know, no doubt I'll be doing my Same Old Spurs podcast. By the way, if you don't listen, follow the Same Old Spurs podcast tomorrow night. You know, after a 0-0 result at Everton, I'm sure we'd all be rather doing other stuff, but we love this club, and that is one thing that we have in common. And, you know, we can agree or disagree on whether Hojbjerg's crap or he's not, but we love our club, and that is the one thing about us fans that are passionate. So I think for our passion alone, and Hugo Lloris alone, we need to win something this season. So if he does bow out, it's not a criminal offence for a World Cup winning captain of ours, Hugo Lloris, to have won nothing. So when he comes back and he's introduced, like, in a few years' time, here he is, who won nothing, Hugo Lloris. It's like, no, at least we can put a little winner's name next to him, because this is the argument I had before about who's a legend at Spurs or not. Because if you go back and you look and you think of who was in the team that beat Chelsea, you know, Zakora won something at Tottenham Hotspur. Chimbonda won something at Tottenham Hotspur, you know. So for the likes of Lloris not to, it'd be very upsetting. So, yeah, my predictions are we're going to beat Leeds 2 or 3-0. Conte to finish 6th, and we will win something. And I am hoping it's more of the FA Cup way, you know, like something of a bit of prestige and something Spurs are known for. It's like, let's do it. As Jose Mourinho's put in the comments here, do it for Hugo. Yeah, do it for Hugo. Do it for us. You know, the pain that we have to go through, do it for us. And that's the fact of the matter is, you know, if I could have one word with a Spurs player right now, I'll just be like, look, do it for us. You don't understand the banter, the pain that we go through. And, well, you know, now West Ham are flying and they've just beat Liverpool. It's just going to be, we're going to be getting it. Someone said in the comments, am I related to Big Tom, who's a West Ham fan, Big Tom Davies? No, I'm not. We're just two big bastards who, you know, got bald heads, so look like King Gary. But I do know Tom, he's a top guy.
Do you know, Majestic, I completely agree with your comments there. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win. I'm going to go for us finishing 6th at the moment, although I hope that we finish higher. And certainly I hope that we do win a trophy, because you're absolutely right. I think the fans, and you know, I've been criticised for using this word, we deserve a trophy as Spurs fans. You know, all the crap that we have gone through over, you know, the years, we deserve a trophy. And when you think back, 1991 was the last FA Cup we won. It was absolute. It's a ridiculous stat. You know, 13 years into a League Cup. Ricky, that final question for you.
Yeah, and do you know what? I'm in total agreement. 2-0 for me, and a top 6 right now. But you know what? The one thing that I forgot to say is I hope in these 2 weeks, in this international little break, that they work on corners and free kicks, because my gosh, we haven't. I don't know I can't remember the last time we scored from a corner, and I can't remember the last time that we had a decent free kick on target on goal. Do you know what I mean? And we're missing out on goal scoring opportunities from this, from these areas. How many times have we conceded, you know, a goal from a corner? You know, so I really want them to work out who's going to be taking the set pieces as well. And I think if we can sort out these little niggles, top 6 should be no drama. And like I say, man, like with Conte in there, I think he's going to go all out to win a trophy. I don't care which one. I'm still going to be popping champagne when we win it, let me tell you. And I'm still going to be a happy boy. And it's all about progression. Pep Guardiola done it. The first thing that he wanted to do was win the League Cup. So it gave that 11, that team, the confidence in not only themselves, but in what the coach is saying to win and to move forward. So if we can sort that out, the sooner the better. If we can sort that out, it just pushes us on, Chris. And I think that's when we can start reaching new heights, and you know, this new era will truly begin when we can do stuff like that, when we can put that front foot forward and kind of go out there and let teams fear us rather than, oh, it's just Tottenham. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's time to shut the league up. Do you know what I mean? It's time to shut everybody up, and it's time to lift the trophy. So, yeah, top 6, 2-0 against Leeds, and a trophy at the end of the season. Just for you, Chris. Just for you, mate.
Love it. Well, I'll tell you what, I've really enjoyed, you know, Antonio Conte's appointment since Tuesday. Even places like Twitter have been a nice place to go. You know, everyone has been on such a high. There's been so much positivity. Lee, same question for you.
Yeah, I mean, how can I disagree with that? To be honest with you, you know, I was hoping for a top 6 finish. I think top 4 is far too far for us at this moment in time. I think a top 6 finish would be something that I'd be satisfied with. I'd be happy that we'd shown some sort of progression from that point of view. I think the game against Leeds is going to be massive. I think it'll be, you know, first Premier League game. I think at home it's going to be absolutely rammed, and I think the atmosphere will be amazing, because everybody, as soon as, you know, I'm South Dorset Spurs guys, and those guys, there was a lot of guys not going to the games. Oh, you know, I don't want a ticket, blah blah blah. As soon as he was appointed, everyone wanted to go. Everyone wants to go now, like, you know, free buses for, you know, whatever, to get up there now. So I think it's going to be absolutely buzzing, and I think that will spur us on. And I think, you know, I think a 2-0 would be a great result. I think we look a little bit more solid at the back, so hopefully we won't let anything in. So 2-0 and top 6 finish for me.
Lee, well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Tell everyone where they can find your YouTube channel. Yeah,
so I'm Leader Dorset Spur. I'm on all the socials. You'll find me everywhere. Just come along and say hello. I'd like to talk back to everybody who comes and talks to me. So that's where I am.
And Majestic, absolute pleasure having you on. It's been such a long time, and it's been an absolute delight talking to you. And of course, Harry Kane tonight. Tell everyone where they can find you.
Yeah, obviously at Majestic Online across all socials. I do the Same Old Spurs podcast, so it's at Same Old Spurs Pod. And then obviously, yeah, Kiss FM Fridays and Saturday nights at 7, and I'll be on TalkSport this Saturday from 8 o'clock. No doubt talking about Conte and all this stuff as well. And yeah, Chris, listen, as I say, you're sitting outside in your car up at the ground and putting this in for the fans. I know how much time and effort it goes into. And a lot of the time, people, when we put stuff online and we talk our opinions, and you know, we get criticism, whatever. But we're out here doing this, and we're talking about the club that we love. So yeah, big respect to everyone. And yeah, come in to say hello. Ricky's back. We lost him quickly,
mate.
I think we got him back though. But yeah. At Majestic Online across all the socials. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun, gents. I really enjoyed it tonight. It's I often find these Spurs chats are like therapy for us. It's like I'm not the only one going through the pain of Tottenham Hotspur, but we love our club regardless. You see, like, some of the other fans that come in the comments and the chats like, give it up. I'm like, as if, what's the dumbest comment ever? I'm Spurs for life, rude boy. Yeah, that's it.
That's right.
You know? I had to watch us have like Kerslake in our team and Jason Dazelle growing up, bruv. Like, you know, we've been to a Champions League final. And as Toby said, he wrote a really good article. He goes, what we achieved during that period with Poch wasn't failure. Look at that as not failure because we've moved forward. So let's get back to moving forward because we're going another way at the minute. So let's pick that up now, you know?
Also, Majestic, you didn't mention Paolo Tramezzani. All players like this.
Oh, my God. Listen, you know the problem is I bump into too many ex-pros and stuff up Talk Sports. So I don't want to talk too much badness. I even bumped into Sol Campbell. And I told him I was a Spurs fan. I told him he broke my heart. But yeah, I could do about 5 different top 11s for the worst Spurs teams. There's 5. There's at least 5. And I think tomorrow, actually, on the Same Old Spurs podcast, we're going to do flop or not with all of the signings under Daniel Levy. And I think you'll find there's probably more flops than nots.
Well, it's absolutely delightful to have you back on. And, you know, love to have you on again. Ricky, where can everyone find you? And, of course, you've got a new film coming out soon.
Yes. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for mentioning that. So if you want to find me on Twitter, you can find me at Ricky J Norwood. I've got the blue tick on there. On Insta, it's official Ricky Norwood. I haven't got the blue tick on there. I don't know why. Insta are playing with my life. But yes, I've got a new Christmas film coming out on Netflix November 18th. It's called The Princess Switch 3. I was in Princess Switch 2, which was last year. And obviously it's a trilogy, so there's Princess Switch number 1, but I wasn't in that. But listen, while you're waiting for Princess Switch 3, make sure you check out number 1 and number 2 so that you're ready for what we have in store for the next movie. It was really exciting to shoot. We were shooting up in Edinburgh in all the beautiful castles, and we had some real snow as well. And it was, it was a fantastic shoot. So yeah, I would love all of you to check it out and to let me know how much you enjoyed it. And if you didn't enjoy it, you don't have to mention me. You don't have to you don't have to send a message. It's fine. I'll get it. But yeah, remember, it's a Christmas movie, guys. It's all love. It's all love.
It's all for the spirit of the season.
It's all for the spirit. But yeah, November 18th on Netflix, Princess Switch 3.
Brilliant. We will definitely check it out. Lee, Ricky and Majestic, can't thank you enough. I can't believe that we've been talking for nearly 2 hours, so sorry for overrunning on this show. But of course, as we talk Spurs, many more subjects come up. And I'll be heading home now with a smile on my face after having this chat. Thank you so much to everybody for all of your comments tonight. And I will see you tomorrow for a Tottenham news video. Until then, come on, you Spurs.
Come on.